With this, actually 2 states. One, over the course of time, I've been involved in a lot of odor nuisance lawsuits, most of which never come to trial, but some that do. And it is a messy way to sort out differences. It is a very clumsy way, but it is part of our British common law that the United States adopted, the right to enjoy property. Again, I would say that that's one way to answer it is I don't think any state, any federal government, anybody can look you square in the eye and say that if you abide by all state and federal rules, and this is unfortunate what I'm fixing to say, that you're protected against an odor nuisance suit against, from some neighbor. Now, I would ask, does Missouri have a right to farm out? They do. That gives you a measure of protection. Right there against people who just moved in. So that's one way to do it. I want to also say this, that I thought that it was very good that what Brian, first Mike and then Brian presented the successes that have been achieved over the last 10 years. And the very fact that a great many of you, most of you, can stand here tonight and say, that it's not a problem, that they're a good neighbor, I think that's a tribute to how far we've come. So I don't want to lose sight of that. I think that I would not view what we do as a panel to monitor and provide advice, input. And have certain checks and balances. And as Brian said, we very often agree, and sometimes when we don't agree, there's reasons for that. But I think the fact that we've come this far it shows the success of this process.
Okay, do we have any elected officials who would like to ask questions at this time?
Hi, I'm Daniel Brand, Associate Commissioner for Davies County, Missouri. I've been now serving 18 years as County Commissioner. PSF did not come to Davies County, but Continental Greenville, which now PSF owns. My question is, we've gone through a lot of rhetoric here tonight. Is the real problem in this consent decree barn odor? Is that the #1 problem?
It certainly is, and this is not just in Missouri. I've been involved in this topic for almost 20 years now. It's all over the world. It always comes down to odor.
Well, I realize you have lagoon odor, you have barn odor, you have different. I'm saying though, as PSF, they've made progress in their lagoon as far as lagoon odors, haven't they? It's right now. The real question is barn odor. That's what I've been led to believe by people that are supposedly in the know.
That's a very, very fair assessment.
So really, PSF has made accomplishments in what they've done. Your panel has got together and you admitted they've made accomplishments. I think really, standing back and trying to look at this, I employ PSF. I'm a farmer myself. This decree was enforced upon by the court system in a lawsuit. It put the Attorney General's office. You had to enforce the decree. You gentlemen were empaneled to come up with some new generation technology. I feel as if you tried to do that. And I really feel as right now we're to a point that, just as was said earlier in this meeting tonight, it's an ongoing process. The end of July is a finite date that's set by this decree. But it seems to me that with all sides talking, PSF, everyone else, I think surely because of the economic impact, the impact on the state of Missouri, I think everybody from the panel, the Attorney General's office, PSF, seems to me as if we all need to work together, work through this problem for the good of everybody. Thank you.
I think I speak for the team. We are on the same page. We very much appreciate that input, and I agree there's been a lot of rhetoric here tonight. But this is what we hope to accomplish. And to be a little bit specific now, there are several environmental parameters in the consent agreement. When we refer to those salient benchmarks, what we do is we sit down and look at that list and then add a technology, and for each of those environmental criteria, ammonia emissions, hydrogen sulfide, pathogens, phosphorus, odor, it gets a check, plus, check, plus, check. And we take all of those into considerations across the board relative to does it meet next generation technology criteria. Your points are very valid. Thank you very much.
And I may just add on to what Mike just said. I think odor gets so much play here because we all have an odor sensor, but we don't all have these other sensors that Mike was talking about, pathogens and all the other factors. And that's why we have to really look at the evaluation measurements and the criteria to meet these requirements. There are certain things that are not good for people that you can't smell. So we got to remember that, and the whole idea of public health, human health, animal health is it's just not just odor. And one final point, I think it was mentioned that we are all of us are far away from this, and not that we identify. Well, all of us have very similar problems back where we come from and are dealing with these same issues. And in many regards, I think what is being done here with PSF is very important because it is pushing the boundaries. We are pushing technologies that are going to be used in other places, and probably places that we all are associated. So indirectly, it will affect us as well. It will affect animal agriculture, not only in Missouri, in the Midwest, in the U.S., throughout the world. We are pushing the boundaries, and so we're going through it in a process that we think is as objective as a process like this can be.